Good morning, everyone. Hello, hello. Happy Monday. How's everyone doing today? Hi, Dave.
Hi, Shannon.
Lauren, thumbs up. Excellent. Hey there, Judy. Kathy, how's it going? Hi there. Allie, welcome, welcome. Excellent. Well, here we are, Monday morning. Happy to see you all. Looks like I might know most of you. Joe, I'm not sure, have you been with us before on our support group leader trainings? Yes?
I have not, no.
You have not. Welcome. Okay. Well, good to have you. So as people start filing in on Monday here, I just want to welcome you and wish you a happy almost spring. Hoping that wherever you are calling in from, that the weather is really, taking a turn for the better. I know it's been kind of crazy for a lot of us in different parts of the country. So just talking with Margie, who's with me here. Thank you for helping, Margie. If you can give us a wave. Yes, so she's going to be doing my tech backup today. So as I've talked about a lot with you as support group leaders, and you're doing Zoom meetings, it's really helpful to have that backup person helping with all the tech things and just having another pair of eyes. So thank you so much, Margie, for being here. Let's see. Let's go ahead as we begin. Let's go ahead and rename ourselves if we could. So if you hover over your own image, you'll see those three dots in the right-hand corner. If you click on that, the menu pops up and then you can click rename. So if you could just say your first name and then the city in which you live. Great. Karen, nice to see you. I'm glad you could make it. Edna, I'm not sure if we've met before. Have you been on one of our trainings? You can go ahead and unmute yourself if you can find that in your bot. Yes, there you go.
Yes, I was on the last one.
Okay, well, welcome back. Nice to see
Thank
you. Sometimes I'm not able to catch everybody. So thanks for coming back. We've got our roundtable for the month of March. So I'm going to go ahead and begin and share my screen. Looks like we might have a little bit smaller of a group today. So that's going to allow for more sharing, which is nice. So I'm going to begin sharing my PowerPoint with you. So again, thank you all for being here. Margie, thumbs up, you can see this.
Yep.
Wonderful. Okay. So as I mentioned, we've got our monthly roundtables, and so they are serving as a support group for you as support group leaders. It's just a time for you to come together and chat with one another, learn from one another, and just brainstorm ways to help all of our group members the best that we can during this crazy pandemic time. So for this month, it was actually requested, and I think it was our February roundtable. Someone was really interested just to hear tips and tricks, like what is really working for you in your group, and then how about we share that with one another, so we can improve all around, and we might hear ideas that we'd never thought of before. So that's what we're doing today. We are going to be doing breakout rooms in order to facilitate that conversation, because as we know, it's much easier to talk in small groups and everyone has a chance to contribute. And so we're going to be doing breakout rooms, and then we'll come back to the main session, and then each of our groups will share back, and I'll take notes like I normally do in my PowerPoint, and then we can have that to reference in the future. So hopefully this will be a very productive session for us today. I always like to start our roundtables with our collaboration agreements. And so these are just the expectations that we all come together and recognize, so that we can have as productive of a session as possible. So just reminding us to mute your mic if you ever have that occasional background noise, just so that we can really hear one another and pay attention and not be distracted. A reminder to listen intently to one another as we share our ideas, to say yes and, so always building on the ideas of other people. And then keeping an eye on the time. So I will help out with that in our breakout rooms. I'll send you a little reminder, but as we know, time really clips along. So we have to kind of stay on top of that. And then finally, being patient with technology and with me. I know recently I've accidentally put us back into our breakout rooms. So thank you all for your patience as I figure out all of my Zoom windows, and we keep learning as we go on, don't we? So let's see here. So we're going to just get right into it today. So why and how do we break out? I just mentioned it's a lot easier for us to have deeper conversations and connect with one another when we're in these small groups. And so what we have found is that an ideal size of a breakout group is between 4 and 5 people. So that's what I'd like to do today, is have that number of people in our groups. And then today, we're going to be using the Zoom function where it automatically puts you into groups, as opposed to the self-select breakout rooms, which we've done in the past, the recent past, but we're just going to do the automatic groups today. You're going to be sent to your room automatically. And then once everyone gets there, if you could please amongst yourselves decide who might be a leader for your small group. And that person is going to help to facilitate the sharing, make sure everyone gets a chance to speak. That person should take notes of any common themes or significant insights, all those tips and tricks that you're going to be sharing. So go ahead and have some paper and a pen with you so you can physically write those notes down. And then once we come back to our main session, you can report back to the larger group, and I'll take notes on that. So during this session, each person will have about 4 or 5 minutes to talk. It doesn't have to be that stringent, it can be more of an open conversation, of course, but I wanted to allow a little bit more time for a conversation today. So you're going to have about 20 minutes total to brainstorm, and I'll send you a halfway notice. So at about 10 minutes, I'll send you a notice that, okay, we're about halfway through, just to keep, just to make sure that you're staying on track and that everyone has a chance to share. And then you're going to get a 30-second warning before you're going to be brought back to the main session. So this is just a reminder for you as support group leaders, if you ever do breakout rooms with your groups and you send people away, just to be cognizant of that that experience of being shot through space. And it can be, it's kind of like whiplash, so they call it breakout room whiplash. So just to have that warning is really important, so people aren't mid-sentence and then they feel like they're just jerked out of the room and they weren't able to finish their thought. So just something to keep in mind. So it's as positive of an experience as possible. Excuse me. Okay, and so we'll come back to our main group, and then our leaders of each group will share back, and I'll keep notes. Okay, how's everyone doing? Is everyone all right? All right, so you're all welcome to unmute yourself. This is a very casual and open conversation here, so always feel free just to speak up if you would like.
Yeah, Shannon, I had a hard time getting online for some reason. I was there early, never got let in, and it's 8 minutes after, and I finally got put through.
Oh, interesting. Okay, Margie, have we disabled?
Shannon, that's probably my fault. I believe I accidentally locked it. So I think everyone has gotten in now.
Okay.
So I want to say we're all here.
Yeah, that was the warning message I got, it was locked.
Yeah.
Okay. My apologies.
All right. Thank you for letting us know, Paul. And again, just another example of being patient with technology and patient with us as we figure this out. So I appreciate that. All right. And I see, I just want to make sure. Okay, David, Me Too meeting was locked. Okay, got it. All right, so I think we're all taken care of now. Wonderful. Okay, so moving forward, we have a prompt for today. So I just wanted to give you a couple of ideas of places to start when you're thinking of your tips and tricks. So what can you offer other leaders here on the call today regarding running your meetings, how to grow your group, or how you determine meeting content, etc. So this is, again, very open. These are just some ideas to get you kicked off. And then really, what is working well for you? So it's just, again, super open. And I would love you just to, anything you have to share, put it on the list, okay? And so I'll keep good notes as we share back, and so we can keep track of those things in the future. So what I'm gonna do right now, and this is, again, if you are ever doing breakout rooms with your support groups, then if you want them to discuss something specifically, you need to copy and paste that from either a document, something, and then put it in the chat prior to them going to their breakout room so that they can all receive that chat. And they know what is expected of them. So hopefully everyone just got that chat that came through. So these are those prompts. And so now we know what we are going to talk about. All right, I am going to stop my share right now. And then I am going to prepare the breakout rooms on my end. And I just thought, since Margie, she was able to attend one of our live events. PMD Alliance actually hosted 2 live events on Friday, this past Friday, and Margie was at one of them. So I thought, as I do the breakout rooms, that you might hear a little bit about a live in-person event, which is very new for us as we kind of hopefully come out of COVID. So please let us know, Margie, how that went.
Absolutely. Friday was an exciting day for PMD Alliance as we began to stick our feet back into the water and see what we can do to safely gather together. And we've got Judy from Sun City on. She was at the Phoenix one, so I'm going to ask her to pipe in here in a little bit too. We didn't have a great crowd. We were going to limit our attendance to 30 just so that we could make sure that we were able to social distance and still be heard. And we kept it outdoors so that we had that additional safety feature. We had our promotional material from all of our sponsors pre-bagged so that there weren't any tables. We didn't have a lot of sponsors come. They were invited to have one person come, and we had a few, but we didn't have very many. And they're busy right now trying to get back into the doctor's offices too. So we understood that. But I felt it was just a really good time. The folks were so excited to get back together, to be able to see one another and to be able to, just even though you're still a distance, just to be able to do a little bit of visiting and to be able to have a doctor in front of you and talk a little bit. It was really exciting. Judy, did you have any comments about how you felt Sun City went?
Well, I thought it was great just to be able to see everybody in person, for sure. It's been a long time. I don't know, what did we have, about 20 people?
I think it was just over 20.
Yeah,
I can't remember 20 what, but.
Yeah, that's too bad because I was going to invite other people, but I thought there may not be any room. So, and now I wish I had
Well,
just done it, but it was really nice. I really like the face masks, by the way. We got in the kit, in the bag they gave us, there were face masks with PMD Alliance on them, and I love the material. It's a nice soft material.
Isn't it soft? Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a nice thing. I was thrilled to see Kathy, who lives farther out than me, Sun City West. She actually drove all the way over there. If I'd known, we could have gotten together with her. But I think my only negative was location. In Central Phoenix on a Friday evening, It was like,
It was definitely a challenge. I had tried a couple of places more central that were not available.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so we're going to begin to be working on that and working with some of our groups too to find, perhaps you perhaps in Sun City have
yeah,
some suggestions for locations
yes.
as well.
Yeah,
So
because I think we would have had more people if, I would
yes,
not have come if Perry didn't bring me, because
yes.
I was lucky enough that Perry, some people know who Perry is. He used to be a code enforcement officer for the city of Phoenix. So he knows every little back road, and
Yep.
so I rode with him, and it was fine, but it still took us a good hour to get over there, and even longer to get home. And
Absolutely. That was a drawback. And I think we probably would have done it late morning had we not planned to do two of them in the same
yeah,
day.
and that's fine. I mean, please don't think that's a complaint. I'm just
I
saying,
don't.
I think
I
we
don't.
could have gotten more people if it had been easier to get
Mhm.
to different time
Agree.
of day or something. But yeah, but great first start. I think Dr. Ospina spoke, which is, to get her for free is always nice.
Always,
Um,
always.
I had some questions I was going to contact my doctor about, and I didn't have to because I asked her Friday.
Go.
So yeah, it was good, and I met a few people I hadn't met. Well, Kathy, to get back to her, I don't think she's here. She's not a leader. I had known her on Zoom, but I'd never met her in person. So
Nice.
it was nice that she found me because she heard me talking and she recognized my voice.
Oh, how nice is that?
Yeah, so it was nice to connect with somebody in person.
Good. So look forward to it. We're going to try and expand that a little bit now that we've done two of them. We know a little bit more of how to request spaces, what to look for, what to ask for, and how to proceed. So thanks, Shannon.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing. And I'm glad that you were able to go, Judy. We got a couple of questions. So Myra asked, was the program on Friday outside? So yes, there were two programs, one in Tucson, one in Phoenix, and they both took place in church parking lots. So it was distanced, and the chairs were set up at least 6 feet apart from my understanding, and face masks, the whole deal. So yes, it was safe. And then we had Lauren ask, were most of the people who showed up vaccinated, wondering if that is a factor in people deciding to come out. So I would have imagined, but
there were probably, I don't think quite 50%, but there were several who were, and several more who were scheduled. So I think it probably did have a lot to do with it.
Absolutely. And then Myra said, how do you plan should it rain? So because of Arizona being mostly quite dry, we could expect that the weather would be decent. I mean, it's, you can't, not 100%, but it's up there. So other parts of the country, not as sure of a bet as far as good weather. You just don't know.
But we will be looking for pavilioned areas as we go forward. So fingers crossed that even if it should rain, if people, wanted to get out knowing there was shelter, it would be good.
Okay, everyone. So I think we might have had a few people join later. Sorry if you had any issues getting in. We have now unlocked the room, so everyone, even latecomers, can now join us. What I'm doing now is I'm reposting my chat, which is our prompt for our breakout rooms, which we're going to be going into right now. So hopefully everyone will be able to participate. I just see a couple of you who are not on camera. So let's see here. Okay, so it looks like I have everybody in a room, and I'm going to open rooms now. Again, you will have about 20 minutes total to share, and you'll get a halfway notice from me. Okay, so everyone good? Yes, we all on board for our breakout. Okay, perfect. Here we go. I'm hitting the magic button, and we'll see you on the other side. Hi, Jennifer. Are you with us? I just see your photo. I can put you into a breakout room if that's okay with you. I'm going to assign you to room number 3. Okay, so hopefully.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I was having some trouble with my controllers. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, welcome back. Looks like we're all making it. Success. Fantastic. Okay, good, good, good. How did it go, everyone? Is that a good amount of time? About 20 minutes? I gave a couple more minutes because we had some latecomers and I wanted to make sure they had the chance to speak or at least contribute if they wanted to. Great. Are we ready to report back? We're going to go group by group. So in room number 1, and this is where I have to really be careful not to put you back into your breakout rooms. So if that happens, we'll just have to come on back. What, say again?
I think I was room 1.
Oh, Art, yes, you were with Dave and Judy, Kathy, and Roger. Are you the small group leader?
Judy, Kathy, Dave, Roger, yes.
Wonderful.
And I'm sort of the note taker. I'll see if I can read my writing.
Okay, look, before you get started, Art, let me go ahead and share my screen. So a lot of you will go away from my vision, but that's the way I'm going to be keeping notes so you can keep me honest. All right. Are you able to see my PowerPoint here? Okay, wonderful. Okay, Art, I see you. And so I am going to take notes.
Okay. One of the things was suggested, articles and links on the internet. And included in that would be PMD Alliance, which many of the people and I myself also try to direct my people to. So that's one of it. Another thing that was mentioned that each quarter, people bring into the meeting items which they find helpful for their Parkinson person to help them to dress, to eat, to do things, to make life better and to do things safely. So these are items that they've thought about and have made. One of the things mentioned was a gentleman made a item to help his wife to keep from falling backwards. So things like that. And I know I bought my wife some special plates and so forth to help her eat and so forth, made life easier for her. Another thing was some meetings, they had this talkie-talkie, which was basically a meeting based on socialization so that people would really enjoy the company of one another. And along with that was being flexible in the meeting by answering questions that other people might have. So you have this group intelligence that having lived with Parkinson's and you have a new person come in and other people would share what they've done to help make their life better. And along with socialization was this icebreaker, 2 truths and a lie. I've never heard of it, which helps people to start talking with one another. Because I believe that socialization is very important for Parkinson people. So anyway, those were the items that we covered. I think I got them all.
That was great, Art. Anyone else in group one? Dave, Judy, Kathy, or Roger? Anything you wanted to emphasize, or did Art get it all?
He did a great job. I'd forgotten half of what he remembered.
That's why it's helpful to be in a group, yes?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, group one. Wonderful ideas. I think what we're doing here today is similar to what, this example here, quarterly coming together and having everyone crowdsource, so it's getting ideas from everyone else. Yeah, maybe I'll add that crowdsource. There's so much value in that. So yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, moving to, let's see here. I'm trying to not click the wrong button. Room number 2 had Edna, Karen from Pittsburgh, Kelly, Lauren, and Paul. So who was the
I did, Shannon. I took
leader?
notes.
Yes,
Lauren.
of course you did, Lauren.
So I can just say ditto to group one because we actually mentioned a lot of the same ones. I know that my buddy Dave was in that group. The
Yeah.
Two Truths and a Lie was great. People talked about ways to get to know each other better outside of the Parkinson's world. Someone had a great idea about this penny game. She called it Penny for Your Thoughts. You pick a penny, and the year that's on the penny, you have to talk about that year and what happened to you that year, or what you know about that year. Which is kind of an interesting way to do things. A lot of people use music in their different segments to kind of lighten things up and get moving a little bit. But we talked a lot about getting speakers and the best way to get speakers for your group. Talked about stepping outside the Parkinson's box. So not necessarily just a Parkinson's person to talk, but maybe a podiatrist or an audiologist or an estate attorney, some of those other people that might have some really good information for people with Parkinson's, and checking in with other support group leaders in your area who they have had speak, that maybe you could have come in and speak to your group. Talked about a lot of concern about when the groups are meeting back in person, continuing the Zoom sessions at the same time as a live meeting or an in-person meeting, possibly. Some people are going to keep a separate Zoom meeting, so maybe meet twice a month, and one of the meetings will be just on Zoom so that those people that want to stay on Zoom can. And we talked about separating out care partners from the people with Parkinson's so they have their own separate time. And did I miss anything, guys?
That's pretty great. Let's see here. Make sure I got it right. So we started here with you, Lauren, ways to get to know each other better outside of the PD world. Penny for Your Thoughts activity. So did I get that right? Talking about the year on the penny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do a tips and tricks segment too. We actually do it monthly. Anyone who has something that month that has helped them, they get a couple minutes to talk about it. So
sure. And do you meet every week right now, Lauren? So that
no, we're meeting monthly.
You're meeting monthly. Okay. And you said monthly you do the tips and tricks. So that's
it's just a few minutes at the beginning of the month. It's actually hard to get people to talk up and mention something, but usually there's a couple things, someone's tried a new gadget or someone's got a new walker with a laser or something. Someone mentioned that it's good to, if you know someone in the group that has something new, prep them a month in advance and say, hey, can you let us know next month how that's working for you? So they get some time to think about it.
That's wonderful. That's great. And I really liked what you said about checking in with other support group leaders in your area to see who they've been able to access, locally, because that's sort of, that's the idea, right? Is to have people in your area that you can call on, as opposed to, well, we're all on Zoom, so might as well have a speaker from across the country. Well, maybe, but after the fact, hopefully when we get in person and we're back to more normal life, that local resources are there for you, you know, people, professionals, if you will, and you can go utilize their services. So I really like that idea here. Concern about in-person meetings versus Zoom and how to handle the hybrid model. So, you know, that's something that we can maybe touch back on at the end of the meeting. We'll see if we hear any other points about that from the other groups, but I think this is definitely where my mind is as we go into 2021. And as far as my trainings for you all, like, what is it that I need to be thinking about on how to help you in these scenarios of in-person versus Zoom, and then can those two come together? So, you know, that will all be very exciting, won't it? Thank you, Lauren. Did anyone else in group 2 have anything to add before we move on? No? Okay, great job. Thanks, Lauren. Okay, so looks like group 3, we have Debbie from Palos Verdes, Gail in Torrance, Jennifer, Judy in Georgetown, and Myra, who was the lead.
We didn't exactly pick anybody, but I did take notes. And is that okay with group 3 if I speak?
And you can tag
Yes,
team as well. Yeah.
We'll see. Okay, if I leave out something, jump right in. Okay, so I spoke a bit about the fact that I have a DBS support group, which is kind of special. And I wanted to make the point that we record our speakers if we have, well, every other month we have a speaker. On the other month we have Q&A. We do not record the Q&A, but we do record as a webinar the speakers. So I have, and let me back up a bit. The Georgetown Area Parkinson's Support Group is a big organization. Within that, we have a subset, the Georgetown Area DBS Support Group, which is what I'm the facilitator of. Anyway, both of us record speakers, and you can watch those recordings by going to our website, which I could send to Shannon. And you might want to share that website with everybody, because there's a lot of good talks that's recorded. And especially if anybody's interested in DBS, those will be very specific. So I just want to mention that.
Thank you.
Myra said that she sends a list of meetings and other information every week. So I know it's sort of like your first thing there, articles and internet links, but she sends that every month, every week, including the PMD meetings.
That's great. And so it's a kind of up-to-date reminder. I think it's the consistency. It's it's at the top of everyone's email box once a week, as opposed to getting lost over a month, maybe.
Right.
Great.
Debbie talked about the fact that they Zoom monthly, but that she feels like they're having some tech stress on the meetings, both the leaders and the members, that members still have trouble getting on the Zoom meetings, and that the leaders aren't necessarily good with the technical aspects of Zoom meetings.
Okay. Sorry, may I ask who contributed that?
Debbie, I believe.
Debbie. Okay, Debbie. I don't see your face right now, Debbie, in my little screen, but we can touch base. And I just want to make sure that everyone who's on this call right now, that they know that I have done a lot of tech training specifically for support group leaders that has, all these have been recorded so they can be accessed now. And then I'm continuing to do trainings for people. And if we even need to do one-on-ones, that's totally fine as well. So I just wanted to put that out there before I lost track. But that's really interesting for me to hear and know. And that's why I'm here, is to help you with these kinds of things. So just feel free to let me know if you're having trouble, and I can offer any assistance. Thank you, Judy.
Hey, and then Gail from Nashville mentioned that they're having hybrid meetings, which I thought was very interesting. she said normally they have about 90 people at their monthly meetings before COVID in person, and that they've had one hybrid meeting at a church inside following the COVID protocols. And they also, at the same time, had it on Zoom. And she said they had 50 people in person and 23 on Zoom. I think that's great.
Wow.
She said, for instance, they had a lot of things that they don't normally do. There was no food, no name tags, and that the people that were Zooming, the facilitator turned the camera around so that the people on Zoom could see the people that were sitting in the church. So they would get an idea of the COVID restrictions, that everybody had a mask on, that they were 6 feet apart and all that. So it might make people feel more comfortable coming to an in-person.
Okay, and can I ask some clarification on that, Judy? And was it Gail?
Gail from
Okay, so Gail, so the person with the computer, was it a laptop, something really portable, I assume? And then so that laptop was, that they could scan it around the room basically to kind of show who was there, and people at home could see what was going on. Is that a fair interpretation? Yeah, Gail, I don't know if you want to speak up about that. I don't see or hear you, Gail. I don't know if she's
Muted,
still.
Gail.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just sent can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just sent a little chat. Yes, he
Hello.
had a laptop that he just kind of moved around a little bit. He didn't use it for the whole meeting because he had it mainly focused on the speaker that we had. But at the beginning of the meeting, he kind of took it and scanned it across throughout the room so that people could see, you know, to know what to expect if they decide to come. It's the same room that we use for all of our meetings, but we have chairs in that room. Normally we have tables, we sit at tables and chairs. There were no tables and the chairs were spread out. And it's the way the church does. We had to make reservations, take temperatures, wear masks, do all that good stuff. And the thing I said, the hardest thing was to not just rush over to people and give them big hugs. We had to do air high fives and things like that. But, you know, it was good to see each other. And I think the people that were watching on Zoom were able to, you know, it was our first go with this hybrid thing. So, but we got pretty good feedback from it. So we're going to try it again next month.
Great.
Shannon, this is Paul Geip. You can use a separate camera. You don't have to use the camera that's built into the laptop. I mean, many of us, because of Zoom, have separate cameras now. And another way to do that is if you could do, the same person could have a cell phone and use the cell phone feature, carry it around actually to each person.
Let's see, hybrid meeting. Okay, so you can use separate camera, or I just want to make sure I got this right. Someone can sign in from a cell phone.
Yeah. In fact, it can be the host. The host could sign in from the cell phone as well as from the computer.
Okay, and that's very mobile.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so
You take it inside, outside. Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's a great suggestion there. Sign into Zoom meeting. I just want to make sure I get this right. Or host can use cell phone to sign into Zoom meeting. It's very portable. Perfect. Love these ideas. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. Anyone else in group 3 have anything to add? Or Judy, are you finished with your list?
One last thing, I thought a good idea for a meeting was to have someone from a local medical supply shop come and bring their equipment and show all the different gizmos that are helpful. Well, that was, I'm gonna do that. That sounds good.
And were you thinking, Judy, that that would be wait till in person so that people can actually handle things and touch them, or could it be Zoom format?
Gail's idea, but either way, I mean, you could just show them, but it might be better in person to wait.
Okay, could be online, but maybe better in Zoom, or maybe better in person. And so, yeah, that's a good point. We'll have to see how long that takes, right? The in-person thing. Great. Excellent. Thanks, Judy.
Mhm.
Okay, let us move down to group number 4. And it looks like there's David Cox, Irene, it's in Sacramento, Jay Euchre, Sarah, and Tila. Do we have a group leader?
Sarah, you want to do the talking?
Let's see.
Okay,
Sarah-
I thought Sarah would do the talking. She was very elegant in the way she spoke. So I'll just start and then anybody could take over. This is Irene.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
amazed
I
at the fact that each group is doing a different presentation, like, you know, each group seems to have different ideas, which I think is very interesting. But we spoke about having other groups invited to our Zoom meetings so that more people can join in, because we're all finding that our the attendance at the meetings has gone down tremendously. So if you have a speaker, you don't want really them to speak to, like, you know, 5 people, and you want them to feel that they were more productive than that because they put work into their end of the presentation. So inviting other support groups is a good way of getting a larger audience. Sarah had said that we were talking about trying to get the group bigger than it is. And Sarah said that what they do is they advertise, you might have to correct me because I don't know if I got this right, but they have a university radio station that plugs the support group in the area. Is that right, Sarah?
Yeah, it's a community calendar. Yeah.
So that was a good way of getting the word out that we still have, you know, support group meetings, even though we can't meet in person. Sarah, you have any other things?
Yeah,
that-
I'll add a few things. And we updated our poster, and I just need to get some printed, and we'll start passing those out to doctors' offices again for our Zoom meetings. And, you know, I think that's a good way. I mean, everybody's going to the doctor now, and it doesn't cost anything, just a little bit of gas to distribute it. And let's see, what else do we have?
Sarah, can I ask some clarification there?
Yeah.
You said you have
Yes.
new posters to market your Zoom meetings, and the doctor's office is the place you're taking. So the posters themselves, are they just being literally posted, or are they more like flyers?
Well, I put it, I have it printed on cardstock just so it's, you know, more durable. And then like at my regular doctor's office, she just tapes it on the wall or the window, you know, the glass window. And so I'm going to see if the doctor's office, I can do the same thing. I've found that the doctor's office don't like to keep flyers. You know, they're there for a while and then they get tossed out or whatever. So I think it's better to hang it on the wall, and then people can write down or even ask for a copy of it, instead of, you know, having all these flyers, because it's really hard to keep up with flyers, keep them, you know, what's the word, filled, you know, the container filled. And then we would probably have to provide our own plastic container. So I just hang it on the wall, and I have all my contact information on it, plus our website.
Great. Okay. And do you know if you've received or if you've heard from any new people and because they've seen these posters?
I've not, well, I haven't got the new posters out yet. Diane just redid it. So I haven't distributed any yet, but we have picked up people from the radio station, community calendar, and from our website.
That's great.
Yeah. And our people had more questions than a lot of tips and tricks.
Yeah.
So that was good. So maybe some of these other answers will help our group with, building or growing their group.
Okay. Are there any questions that we haven't really addressed yet that I can include here and we can remember to come back to it?
Well, I have that succession problem still.
Okay.
The one person I was hoping has, what's it called? Women cancer, ovarian cancer. She's recovering from it. She was one of my top choices. So I don't know about her anymore, but that's a big thing for me right now. Is not that I plan on going anywhere, but I've been leading for 6 years, and sometimes it's better to have a fresh person in there.
Absolutely. Or even rotate or have a team. And so
Yeah.
it's not all in one person because that's when burnout can take place, right? And
yeah. Well, I have a board where three of the members are really, really helpful and can do a lot of things, but many of my board members can't. 2 of them are working full time and the other just, they don't have it in them to do it. So I have to figure it out.
Yes. And I don't think you're alone, Sarah. So we might be able to hear from some other people once we get through our groups to see if they have any tips that they've utilized for creating that team atmosphere. Yeah, great. Anything else from Irene or Sarah?
I just have a comment to make. I don't know if this is the place to say it, but a lot of people are talking about websites, and I think that is a great thing to have, and maybe PMD Alliance could do a workshop to show us how to do a website.
Okay, that's not in my wheelhouse, but
or if you have any idea where I can find out how to do these things.
maybe that's something I know that several folks on our team, and our team is growing, by the way. We have several new staff members on PMD Alliance team. And so I don't know everyone's skill set, but that's what's great about growing is that you just get all these people with more experience and they can help contribute to for the greater good. So I will put that note here, Irene. So website creation, I guess. And I know that there are easier templates out there and some things are free, et cetera, et cetera. So a workshop, I'll just put a question mark here. So that can go onto my list of things to think about and research. Thank you for that. Great. Anything else from group 4 before we move to our final group number 5?
I don't think so.
Yeah, great suggestions and bullets and questions. So thank you very much. Okay, group number 5, last but not least, we have Allie and Joe, Paul French, and Peggy in Pittsburgh. And I just want to let you all know, I'm on my little laptop computer. I can see that there are chats. And so I haven't opened my chat window. So if there's something that is really important that I know or you want answered right now, you can go ahead and verbally ask. Otherwise, after the fact, I can open my chat, but it will cover my screen. So I'm trying to simplify my view here. I just wanted to let you know that I can't really see the chat right now. Group number 5, who was your leader?
Looks like Peggy.
Peggy?
I
Hello.
started, and Allie has promised that she will also have something to say. So,
Okay.
one of the things that was mentioned just at the very beginning of ours, that some of the meetings were becoming smaller and they're having fewer people attend with the Zoom for various reasons. And so we talked a lot about tips and how to get people interested and bringing groups together and what would work and what wouldn't. So there were several really, I thought, interesting ideas that came up. One of them was have something light and have a bag of tricks at your side. Your bag of tricks could be anything from a little game that might be related, a little spurt of exercise. And if things began to bog down, I guess would be a good way to put it, in a meeting when you didn't have any speakers, why, pull out your bag of tricks and try it. Another one was to give assignments, something, what do you want to hear about? Or I just read about this, what can you bring to the meeting next time that is maybe relevant or something entirely new? A new idea, a new medication, a speaker, something along that line. To have speakers, have good speakers, have people who are interested in their topic and with vitality. It's important to keep that level of excitement or anticipation high. Some people like to have a meeting at every speaker at every meeting, some at every other meeting. Some people have snack breaks, which is good because it gets you socializing, which is important. Let me see if there's any breakout rooms. Some people went from monthly meetings to weekly meetings, simply because maybe the locality and there was not a lot of possibility to socialize otherwise, and that considered that an important aspect. So if there's anything anyone else would like to add, please be my guest.
That was great, Peggy. Thank you. Wonderful points there. Allie, you're in the hot seat. I can't see you right now, but did you have anything to add?
Oh, Peggy did a great job. I really liked some of the ideas that were presented on the lighthearted part, keeping that going, because you know how sometimes it can bog down in the middle. That's why I mentioned the exercise break that we sometimes have used that has helped. But sometimes meetings, when you only have an hour, and that's what our group takes, an hour, it pretty much fills up. And I did mention that the positive things about Zoom was even if the group was smaller, we seemed to become closer and make friends and get more open and are free enough to ask more questions about the process of dealing with Parkinson's. So we had a pretty well-rounded discussion. Thank you, Peggy.
Before we leave that, this wasn't discussed with the group, but it's something I just wanted to bring across. Zoom can be very helpful to the groups as well. I have people in my group now. I'm based in Massachusetts. I have people in my group from Arizona, Pennsylvania. They're not going to be there after the pandemic because they're not going to be able to attend regular meetings, or maybe they will through a hybrid meeting. But it's just a thought. kind of an outside the box thought is we can recruit people from all around the country, all around the world, in fact.
Absolutely. And perhaps your network, you start with your group and then, but if one person has a friend or, someone in their network, and then it can just kind of expand that way. So we aren't limited by locality, state lines, anything like that. So I think that's a great point. And that's Joe, right?
That's Joe.
Yeah, hi there, Joe. Okay, so Zoom allows members from all over to join. How can this continue after COVID? And so you mentioned the hybrid as an option. So yeah, that's absolutely an option there. So great. Thank you, Joe and Allie and Peggy. Anyone else want to add something?
Yeah, this is Paul. I joined really late and just caught the tail end of the meeting.
Yes.
But I think there's, I missed the beginning of this, but there's a very basic question about size of a support group. So I actually am involved in two. One I run myself, which tends to be, 12 to 15 people who have Parkinson's. And to me, that's as big as what I would call a support group. That's as big as I would like it to get, because I think I think the biggest value out of a support group, the way that I define it, is the intimacy, the personal interactions, the sharing of experiences. And the other support group that I'm involved with has more of an audience of 80 or 90 people. And that's more like, like a lecture series, where you tend to have one person speaking and conveying information to a group, but you lose the intimacy. They've tried doing breakout groups at the end to make it more that intimate feeling. But anyway, that's sort of a dilemma of you need the right size of group, in my opinion, to make it most effective. And for that, you need to define what it is you're actually trying to achieve.
That's a great point there. That's you, Paul. Okay, define what you're trying to achieve with your group. And so we've had conversations before about, is it an informational / educational group, or is it more of a support group? So those two are very different kinds of things. And so you might, just like Paul said, thinking about numbers of people being able to share. So, and how that's going to dictate your meeting content or the way in which you interact with one another. And so to be clear, as a support group leader, what's your goal? What's your purpose? And it's almost like coming up with a mission or a vision statement for your group and really being intentional about it, as opposed to, oh, well, we just kept growing and growing and it started off and then now it's here. And so that can definitely happen, but then you need to be intentional along the way as those changes come about, so that you are providing what the group members want and need, right? And so it might need to shift. You might need to break it up into 2 groups perhaps, or have more meetings with fewer people. So those are really good questions that you've brought up there, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah, and that was sort of a follow on to you can recruit people from all over the world now that you're on Zoom. But again, that gets back to the intimacy that you have in a group if people have never actually met in person. And then at some point you start getting, if they're all just informational, you start getting flooded with thousands and thousands of potential meetings on everything.
Right, the whole Zoom fatigue. problem where there are so many options and there's so much information and lectures and programs out there. So people have to pick and choose, and they get very tired of being on their computers all day long. I can attest to that for sure. I'd much rather be in person with people and interacting like real human beings. But yes, so where do we all as support groups fit into the larger picture of the whole Parkinson's world, and you know, and what is it special that you can provide to your group, and why do they want to keep coming back? So
Shannon,
yes, Peggy.
that we started doing probably midway through, maybe should have started earlier, is we had them fill out just a brief form with their name, their email, their address, that type of thing. But we also ask what they wanted to see in our meetings and what they were interested in, why they even joined us. And the word that came up more often than anything else was friendship. They were looking for friendship and people who were in the same situation. And I think that that was very important. So that's kind of the direction that ours has taken. And at first I thought it would be informational.
Isn't that interesting?
It was an epiphany, I guess, for me.
Right? It's so simple, but also so poignant at the same time, where it's just like, okay, people just really want to connect and have someone and that understands them, and you know, that consistency over time, you know, how we all have friendships and relationships with people in our lives, and how does that come about? It comes about through you know, over time, and earning trust and connecting, you know.
And I think the smaller groups that Paul mentioned works very well with that type of theme, or if that's what you're looking for. And I agree with him that the others seem more like a lecture. And this is like, we just got together for a little meeting, for a little chat.
Absolutely, right. And you know, for those of you who were mentioning recommending PMD Alliance programs, you know, either to watch ahead of time and then they can discuss that during the group, that sort of thing. You know, those programs could potentially serve as the information, but then when you get together with your groups, that's when it can become more personalized, and you don't have to necessarily worry, oh, week after week or month after month of finding a speaker to, you know, to take the spotlight from you. Like, you don't necessarily need that, right? And it seems like your people want friendship, and it's you as a facilitator just sort of making that space, that time and space for them to do that, so you don't have to feel so much pressure. So yeah, thank you for that, Peggy. I see Kelly's hand up. Kelly in Fort Worth.
It's Shannon. One of the things I found that helps is sometimes I use my phone. I'll find a short segment in one of the talks that we want to discuss. We don't want to hear all the whole lecture. We want to hear this one phrase that needs to be discussed. And I'll take my phone or my iPad and turn it around and video just that portion. And then we will use that portion. So like most meetings will say, we only want a speaker for 20 minutes. Then I make my own 20-minute or 10-minute little bit that we can have a discussion about. So you don't have to use the whole thing if you just get a baby.
That's great. Kelly, how did you say that you took the clip? What did you do?
I take my phone, I'll turn Zoom on, I'll go to the video, and I'll put my iPad or my phone on my rack here in front of it and record that little short section, and then kind of edit it out or get it ready when I get ready to put it into the group. But I just use something else to record. It's not one of these, oh, great, isn't that a wonderful quality? But it's enough to get the point across. It's just thinking outside the box. Yeah. But I don't want the whole thing. I don't want the Q&A and don't want all of that.
Right.
We just want to talk about this one topic that the said speaker discussed.
Okay, and it just kicks off your conversation.
Mhm.
Yes, I love that
Maybe
idea.
answer something everybody's asking about.
Wonderful idea. Thank you, Kelly. I see Sarah, you have your hand.
Yes, one thing that's been mentioned several times, especially with our Parkinson's exercise class, was the friendship and camaraderie that had developed. And that's the one thing. And at our meetings, you know, it got comfortable enough where people knew each other and were happy to see each other. And I think that's a huge part of the support group, is having that connection
Yes,
with people. Yeah.
I agree. And that's what we're all really missing right now, that in-person sharing space. So yes, very good points there. Wonderful. Well, I can't believe we talked so much that boom, here we are right at the end of our meeting already. We didn't get to the succession question, Sarah, but this is something that we can potentially focus on in a future roundtable. Would that be something that we could concentrate on in the future? I'm just looking at your faces to seeing if, yeses or, not interested. Yes. So I see a few head nods. So, okay. That's great. I am going to let you know at the end of the month, March 29th, I believe, is a Monday, and that will be my next Zoom training. So I'm going to be focusing again on facilitating on Zoom. You might know that you're constantly being requested to update your Zoom application. So it's a good thing in that Zoom is improving and we have more features and all of this. So something that I'd like to address is the closed captions. So making your meetings more accessible to those who are harder of hearing. And that is something that is offered through Zoom for free right now. So is that something that you would be interested to know about? Yes. Okay. Anything from your end that I can incorporate into that March 29th training? Anything off the top of your head? Issues, troubles you've been having technically?
Shannon, there were a couple comments in the chat about the Zoom bombing, whether people are having trouble with it. And so I don't know if that's something that would be a good place for you to include that, or perhaps another one.
Okay, that's something that I can address. And we at PMD Alliance have taken extra security measures because we've had one unfortunate experience in the probably hundreds at this point of Zoom meetings. So we consider ourselves fairly lucky. It's never lucky to be on that one call, but I can address that absolutely. Anything else before we say goodbye? This has been great. So much good information. I see someone just email sharing. I'm not sure what you mean, Roger. Did you want to clarify? You want to unmute yourself? Let's see. I just asked you to unmute. So email sharing.
Sure. That is wonderful to get an update of the list.
Oh, for the Tuesday meetings, you mean?
Or this meeting. Even.
Oh, yes. Okay. So after today, I will compile everything. I'll put the slides into a PDF so you can look at them. And then all of those bullets that I kept track of, you're going to have access.
This has been a fantastic meeting.
Yes, it has, because it's, again, crowdsourcing. So thank you all for.
It's like getting a graduate degree in Park PD.
I love that. We all need our, certificates on the wall, don't we? Okay, everyone. Well, so great to see you. Thank you for contributing and being a part of our network. We really value you, and do keep, let me know how I can help. Okay. Have a wonderful week. Okay. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.